Welcome to Crime Canvas, where we explore the darkest corners of human nature and the complex stories behind the headlines. If you appreciate thoughtful true crime analysis, please subscribe to our channel and join our community. Melbourne's luxury hotel district was shattered by sirens at 2:43 a.m. on March 15, 2025. Inside the presidential suite of the Grand Harbour Hotel, crime scene technicians found a horror that would send shockwaves through Australia's immigrant communities. A bride lay dead on her wedding night, still wearing her blood-stained lehenga, traditional jewelry glittering under the camera flash, strangled with her own wedding necklace just hours after saying her vows. The groom, 36-year-old Rajesh Patel, a quantum computing specialist earning over $250,000 annually, had simply walked to the front desk and calmly told staff to check the honeymoon suite. Then he sat in the lobby, emotionless, waiting for police to arrive. He made no attempt to flee, showed no signs of panic, just a vacant stare that chilled Detective Sarah Jenkins to her core. What unfolded was not just another domestic tragedy. This case would expose a sophisticated criminal network preying on cultural expectations and immigration desperation, turning sacred traditions into weapons of exploitation. Rajesh seemed to represent everything successful about immigration. Originally from Hyderabad, he had been recruited to Melbourne's technology sector 7 years earlier, quickly rising to become one of Australia's most respected quantum computing researchers. His publications appeared in leading scientific journals. His innovations contributed to groundbreaking advances in the field. Despite his substantial income, Rajesh lived modestly in a small apartment, sending most of his earnings back to India. He funded his younger sister's medical school education completely. He ensured his parents could retire comfortably in their Hyderabad home. Only after securing his family's future did he finally purchase the waterfront apartment he had dreamed of for years. But beneath this success story, a different reality was taking shape. Weekly video calls with his parents always turned to the same painful topic: marriage. His mother's words cut deeper each time. A successful son who cannot find a wife. What will people think? This pressure created a wound that grew with each passing year, isolating him further in his adopted country. Colleagues at Quantum Sphere noticed the changes. The dark circles under his eyes, his declining lunch invitations, his increasing withdrawal from social connection. At the few Indian community events he attended, people noticed something unsettling. Rajesh had become obsessed with finding the perfect traditional wife, describing his ideal match with criteria so specific it bordered on unrealistic. She needs to be highly educated but family-oriented. Modern thinking but traditional values. Someone who understands my world but prioritizes home life. The description revealed a man desperately trying to satisfy his parents while filling the void of profound loneliness. At an international quantum computing conference in Melbourne, Rajesh met someone who seemed pulled directly from his wish list. Meera Khanna, 29 years old, presented herself as a medical researcher from a prestigious Delhi family. She moved through the conference with effortless grace, her conversation blending scientific knowledge with demure charm. Everything about her seemed perfect. The reality could not have been more different. Meera had been born as Priya Sharma in a struggling household outside Chandigarh. She had worked as a beautician before being recruited into an immigration fraud network. This was her 5th operation targeting wealthy Indian professionals in Australia. The medical knowledge she displayed came from months of intensive study. Her upper-class Delhi accent had been crafted through sessions with a professional speech coach. Behind her practiced smile lay genuine desperation. Her younger brother had been paralyzed in the same road accident that killed their parents. His medical care required constant expense that Priya could never afford. A loan of $78,000 from the syndicate leader Karan Singh had ballooned with interest and fees until he owned her completely. He held her brother's care as leverage, threatening to withdraw treatment whenever her resolve weakened. The psychological cost of living multiple lies showed in private moments. Trembling hands when alone. Nightmares that left her gasping for air. Episodes where she felt herself watching from outside her own body as someone else performed the role of Meera. Their meeting at the conference had been orchestrated with precision. Karen watched from across the room, sending text instructions throughout their conversation. Mention your research on quantum applications in medical imaging. Ask about his work on quantum encryption. Every word calculated, every gesture planned. Rajesh was immediately captivated. Their relationship developed at a pace that should have raised concerns. Each date was carefully designed by the syndicate to deepen Rajesh's attachment. Their first dinner revealed seemingly impossible coincidences. They loved the same obscure Hindi poet, shared a passion for classical music. Both craved the same special biryani from his hometown. These coincidences were the result of extensive background research by the syndicate's intelligence team. Video calls with Mira's family showed a luxurious Delhi home with parents who perfectly matched Rajesh's traditional expectations. In reality, these were paid actors in a rented house, following scripted conversations designed to convince him of her pedigree. We have heard so much about your brilliant work. Our daughter has always valued intelligence above all else. Rajesh's closest friend, Vikram, tried to warn him. You have known her 3 months. Why not wait a year? But Rajesh dismissed these concerns with unusual irritation. When you know, the conversation ended there, and Vikram never pressed the issue again. The engagement ceremony brought Rajesh's parents from India. His mother immediately embraced Mira, tears streaming down her face. Finally, we have a daughter. She removed her own Mangal Sutra, the sacred wedding necklace passed down through 3 generations, and placed it in Rajesh's hands. For your bride. Her voice thick with emotion, heavy with the weight of family tradition. The night before the wedding, while Rajesh's family celebrated, Mira slipped away to meet Karen in a hotel service corridor. He handed her a USB drive, his expression cold as stone. All the account information, passwords, transfer instructions. Tomorrow night after the ceremony, you get what we need. His grip on her wrist left marks. Your brother's care facility has called twice about payment. Mira nodded mechanically, tucking the drive into her purse. Neither she nor Rajesh realized that within 24 hours, one of them would be dead. The wedding day dawned clear and brilliant over Melbourne. The $125,000 celebration transformed a modern venue overlooking the harbor into a vision of traditional Indian splendor. Red and gold decorations, marigold garlands, silk drapery creating beauty against the city's waterfront backdrop. Rajesh's extended family arrived from across India. Grandparents, cousins, childhood friends, all expressing approval of the bride they had only met through video calls. His grandmother, an 84-year-old matriarch, carried a rosewood box containing ancestral jewelry that had survived partition and generations of upheaval. These are for our family's daughter. She placed heavy gold bangles on Mira's wrists and an intricate diamond necklace around her neck. Wear them with the strength of all the women who came before you. Mira's hands trembled as the priceless heirlooms were secured to her body. Not from bridal emotion as the assembled family assumed, but from the crushing weight of deception. The genuine warmth of Rajesh's family contrasted sharply with her fake relatives, actors who performed their roles with professional detachment. Throughout the day, her phone vibrated with messages from Karen. Do not forget what is at stake. One message showed a photo of her brother in his care facility, taken that morning. Tonight or he gets discharged. Complete transfer by 3 a.m. or face consequences. During the ceremony, a moment of genuine emotion pierced Mira's practiced facade. Rajesh's cousin Vikas, a young man with Down syndrome, participated fully in the rituals, treated with complete dignity and obvious affection. Watching this family honor rather than hide their differently abled member, Mira found herself contrasting their care with the exploitation her own brother faced. The realization sent tears streaming down her face. Tears the assembled guests interpreted as bridal joy. The wedding photographer captured images heavy with tragic irony. Sacred promises made by a woman planning betrayal. Family blessings bestowed on a union built entirely on lies. I have waited my whole life for someone like you, Rajesh whispered during the final rituals, his voice thick with emotion as he secured the Mangal Sutra around her neck. We will build something beautiful together. The presidential suite had been transformed for their wedding night. Rose petals scattered across the bed. champagne chilling in silver buckets, floor-to-ceiling windows showcasing Melbourne's harbour lights reflecting on dark water below. As hotel staff departed, leaving them alone for the first time since the ceremony, Rajesh raised his champagne glass to us. But before Mira could respond, he set his glass down and retrieved a large envelope from his luggage. "I have a wedding gift for you." Inside lay permanent residency application papers, already completed and filed with the Department of Immigration. "I submitted these last month. My immigration attorney expedited everything. You will have your permanent status within weeks." The irony crushed what remained of Mira's compartmentalized emotions. The very thing she had been tasked to secure through deception and theft was being freely offered with love. For a dangerous moment, she considered confessing everything. The syndicate, her brother, the operation that had targeted him from the beginning. Her phone vibrated. Karen's message glowed on the screen. "Status update required. Proceed with extraction now." While Rajesh showered, Mira sat on the edge of the bed, wedding finery suddenly feeling like a costume she could not bear to wear another moment. The weight of the diamond necklace felt suffocating. The wedding bangles like handcuffs. She thought of her brother, dependent on care that would vanish the moment she failed. She thought of another performer who had tried to warn a target, photos of her bruised face and broken fingers that Karen had shown as a threat. The bathroom door remained closed, shower still running. Mira moved with practiced efficiency, locating Rajesh's laptop and extracting it from his bag. Passwords memorized during weeks of preparation flowed from her fingers automatically, granting access to accounts holding millions. With each keystroke, she felt herself splitting. The performer executing her task with technical precision while the human inside screamed silently against the betrayal. The laptop screen displayed his primary investment account. $8,246,000. More money than she had ever imagined. Enough to extract her brother from the syndicate's control forever, if she could somehow secure it for herself. Enough to destroy Rajesh's life and everyone who depended on him. Her finger hovered over the transfer button, trembling visibly. The shower water shut off suddenly. Time had run out. The bathroom door opened silently. Mira did not notice Rajesh standing there, watching her with his accounts displayed on screen, until his reflection appeared in the laptop monitor. Her fingers froze over the keyboard. The transfer page open, amount already entered. $3,280,000 destined for an account in the Cayman Islands. How many others before me? The question came with unnerving calm. No shouting. No immediate rage. Just cold precision that was somehow more terrifying than any outburst would have been. Mira slammed the laptop closed and lunged for the door, wedding lehenga hampering her movements. Rajesh stepped sideways, blocking her exit with casual efficiency. "I asked you a question." His voice remained eerily controlled. "How many other men have you done this to?" "Rajesh, I can explain. I am sure you can." He reopened the laptop, checking browser history, finding the multiple accounts she had viewed. "Impressive. You have all my passwords. Even the ones I have never written down." Mira reached for her phone, but Rajesh calmly took it from her hand, powered it off, and placed it on the nightstand beyond her reach. The methodical nature of his movements sent chills through her body. "Please, you do not understand. They forced me." "Who forced you?" "I want names." The confession poured out in desperate words. "Karen Singh. He runs the operation. There are 12 of us performers, each assigned to different targets. This was my 5th assignment." Her voice cracked. "They are holding my brother. He is paralyzed, needs constant care. They will throw him out if I do not deliver." Rajesh's expression remained unchanged as she detailed everything. The spotters who identified him at the conference. The researchers who built his psychological profile. The months of training she underwent to become his perfect match. The apartment on Bridge Street is their headquarters. They have operations in Perth and Brisbane too. 27 targets in total. 8 already completed with full financial extraction. She tried to make him understand. "My brother is all I have left. After our parents died, I could not afford his medical bills. Started as a loan from Karen, But then he owned me. I had no choice. Rajesh stared at her as though seeing through her entirely. So you destroy other families to save your own. His voice remained conversational, as if discussing theoretical ethics. My sister's education, my parents' retirement, my cousins I support, they all become collateral damage in your moral calculation. The lack of visible anger was more terrifying than rage would have been. Mira recognized something shifting behind his eyes, a fundamental change occurring as he processed her confession. This was not anger. This was something breaking permanently. Rajesh reached slowly toward her neck, fingers finding the Mongol Sutra his mother had given her. For a moment, Mira thought he might be offering a gesture of understanding. Then she saw the deadly intent forming in his eyes. Rajesh, please. She was suddenly aware of how isolated they were in the presidential suite. How soundproofed the luxury hotel had advertised its rooms to be. He unclasped the sacred necklace with ceremonial precision, removing it completely before holding it between his hands. Examining the gold pendant his grandmother had worn, his mother had worn, and now his bride of 12 hours had defiled. You know what this symbolizes? Not just marriage. Protection. The husband vows to protect his wife until death. His fingers tightened around the chain. But you were never really my wife, were you? The attack came with methodical precision. He looped the Mongol Sutra around her neck, pulling with systematic pressure. Mira fought desperately, her henna-decorated hands clawing at his forearms, legs kicking wildly, body thrashing. Wedding gifts toppled from the nightstand. Champagne spilled across the carpet. Flashes of their wedding ceremony burned through her consciousness as oxygen deprivation began affecting her brain. The sacred fire they had circled together. The vows spoken before family and gods. The blessings from elders now transformed into a curse. The terrible intimacy of the moment struck her with twisted irony. Still in their wedding clothes, the red sindoor powder marking her as a wife still fresh on her forehead. Dying at the hands of a husband she had never truly intended to have. With her remaining strength, Mira gestured weakly toward the laptop. Evidence. Her voice barely audible. All operations on laptop. Her final conscious thought was not of her brother, nor of her betrayal, but of strange relief that washed over her as the struggle ended. Rajesh maintained pressure for precisely 2 minutes after her last movement. The scientist in him ensuring completion of the task. When he finally released the Mongol Sutra, it left an angry red pattern circling her neck, below the sindoor that still marked her as a married woman. Rajesh sat beside her body with clinical detachment, methodically opening the laptop to explore the evidence she had mentioned with her dying breath. The browser history revealed a hidden folder labeled Quantum Operation, containing comprehensive documentation of the entire syndicate. Videos showed Karen threatening Mira's brother, a young man connected to ventilators in a care facility. Remember what happens if your sister fails to deliver? Karen instructed a nurse to temporarily disconnect oxygen as demonstration. The folder contained everything. Spreadsheets tracking all operations. Bank accounts receiving stolen funds. Identities of all syndicate members. Previous victims documented with clinical precision. Financial extraction amounts, psychological manipulation techniques, divorce proceedings with fabricated abuse allegations. With methodical focus, Rajesh created a comprehensive evidence file, organizing and annotating each document before uploading to secure cloud storage. He composed emails to the Australian Federal Police, Financial Crimes Unit, and Department of Immigration, attaching access links along with a detailed confession. I have killed my wife after discovering she was part of an immigration fraud syndicate targeting wealthy professionals. The evidence provided documents their entire operation across Australia. I accept full responsibility for my actions and will not resist arrest. After sending the emails, he walked to the bathroom, washing traces of blood from his hands in the marble sink. He observed his reflection with strange calm. The man who had been Rajesh Patel, quantum computing specialist and devoted son, had disappeared. Someone else entirely now occupied his body. He changed from his wedding attire into a business suit, carefully folding the sherwani that had witnessed both his vows and his crime. He straightened his tie, smoothed his hair, and took one final look at the scene. The elevator ride to the lobby passed in silence, his mind perfectly empty. At the reception desk, the night manager looked up with a professional smile that faltered upon seeing his expression. There has been an incident in the presidential suite. Rajesh placed the key card on the marble counter. You should call the police immediately. I will wait here until they arrive. Australian Federal Police moved on the Bridge Street headquarters at dawn, breaching 17 locations simultaneously across Melbourne, Perth, and Brisbane. Inside Karan Singh's headquarters, officers discovered what one senior detective later described as a corporate approach to human exploitation. Wall-mounted screens tracked active targets. Digital dashboards monitored financial extractions. A sophisticated communications network linked operatives across multiple cities. One room contained meticulous case files documenting psychological weaknesses, family connections, and vulnerability points of past and potential victims. The evidence Rajesh compiled proved devastatingly comprehensive. The Australian operation alone had processed 34 completed cases with total financial extraction exceeding $22 million over 4 years. 3 previous targets had committed suicide after financial and emotional devastation. But the case took a shocking turn during the trial when prosecutors introduced new evidence. Digital forensics experts recovered a password-protected video diary from a phone hidden in a false bottom of Mira's suitcase, a device unknown to the syndicate. The courtroom fell silent as the first video played. Mira appeared on screen in a hotel bathroom, speaking in hushed tones with visible distress. I cannot do this anymore. Rajesh does not deserve this. None of them did, but he is different. He is kind and genuine and actually loves the person he thinks I am. I have become someone I do not recognize. Subsequent videos documented her growing internal struggle, increasing panic attacks as the wedding approached, desperate searches for escape routes. Most damning were text messages to a domestic violence hotline the day before the wedding. I am being forced to participate in marriage fraud. They control my brother's medical care. I need to escape but do not know how without endangering him. Most devastating was a draft email addressed to Rajesh but never sent, dated the morning of their wedding. In it, Mira confessed everything. Her real name, Priya Sharma, the syndicate operation, her brother's situation, and her decision to give Rajesh the truth and evidence after their ceremony, despite knowing it would end their marriage before it began. I cannot build a life on this foundation of lies. I am sorry for the pain this will cause you. You deserved better than what I have done. The timestamp showed the email had been drafted just hours before the ceremony. Forensic analysis confirmed she had attempted to access it from her hidden phone in the hotel bathroom shortly before her death. The devastating realization descended upon the courtroom. Mira had chosen redemption at almost exactly the moment Rajesh decided to kill her. Had he waited mere hours, had she found courage slightly sooner, the entire tragedy might have been averted. Rajesh's reaction became the trial's most haunting moment. The composed defendant, who had shown little emotion throughout proceedings, suddenly collapsed. His anguished cry echoing through the courtroom as the full implications became clear. I killed her when she was trying to save me. She chose the truth and I killed her for it. The jury convicted on the lesser charge of manslaughter rather than premeditated murder. The judge, acknowledging the extraordinary circumstances, delivered a sentence reflecting both the gravity of taking human life and the extreme provocation that preceded it. Karan Singh and 12 syndicate members received maximum sentences, a combined 247 years of imprisonment. The immigration minister announced comprehensive reforms. Banking regulations were strengthened. Community organizations developed programs addressing cultural pressures around marriage and immigration. In a small care facility, Mira's brother, whose real name was Rohit, received placement in proper medical care funded through victim compensation. The tragic irony that her death ultimately secured what she had sacrificed everything to provide added another layer to an already devastating story. This case became more than a criminal matter. It exposed how systems of immigration, cultural pressure, and economic disparity can transform human connection into transaction, desperation into exploitation, and ultimately love into death. In the evidence locker of Victoria Police Headquarters, one item remains preserved. A gold Mongol sutra necklace with diamond pendant, passed down through 3 generations. Once a symbol of sacred union and protection, now the instrument of death in one of Australia's most complex criminal cases. This story reminds us that behind every crime are human beings shaped by circumstances, pressures, and impossible choices. Rajesh and Meera were both victims in different ways. Victims of a system that weaponized culture and tradition for profit. Their tragedy serves as a call to examine the conditions that enable such exploitation. If you found this analysis valuable, please subscribe to Crime Canvas. We explore the complex human stories behind headlines, examining not just what happened, but why it happened and what it reveals about our society. Thank you for watching.